So we've reached that moment of the evening where we finally get to honor someone from our community. Each year, the local spiritual assembly of the Baha'is in Olean looks for an individual in our community who's actively working to promote unity. Our goal is to honor those who improve our community with such virtues as friendship, service, hospitality, inclusiveness, and devotion to equality. This year, we honor an individual who has lived in our region much of her life, sees cultural diversity in our community as a bounty, and understands that our town has a rich history steeped in world culture. This person learned the history of the Underground Railroad in our region out of a love of knowledge, and has shared that knowledge with a wide circle of people. In her study of the region's African American history, she also learned that immigrants from around the world have made their way to Olean's door and decided to make the city their home. She said to me in conversation that everybody has had to struggle for freedom. When discussing the importance of celebrating the diversity of world culture, everybody has had to struggle for freedom. That statement symbolizes the character of this individual. Countless people have shared with me in my search for knowledge about her that they have witnessed this woman welcome people from all walks of life in such an attentive way that they are put entirely at ease in situations that could potentially be uncomfortable. She creates an atmosphere of unity in groups of strangers and treats all individuals as equals. This unifying energy and her knowledge of history have become a stage for improving our community. If you ever looked up at the sky at the Big Dipper, know that this woman has taught school children in our region the story of the drinking gourd, a story which relates how African American slaves once used a secret code when discussing their plans for escape. Those slaves looked up to the sky to be guided by the drinking gourd, known as the Big Dipper, so they could find their way north. When sharing this moving story with children, this person made the experience memorable through having the children make their own drinking gourds and writing what freedom means to me. The art one group created was later showcased at the African American Center for Cultural Diversity. Other service this Mother of Six has offered with children is to be involved in an exchange program which works with elementary schools in our city. Run through St. Bonaventure University, this program connects children here with children from the Bahamas to promote learning about culture and education. Our honored individual has been involved in helping to make this program flourish, is currently working to help raise money to keep it running, and hopes to help it expand to allow children to be partnered with other world cultures, one country per grade through each year of elementary school is her goal. While her work with children is extraordinary, there is much more. Last year, this person helped plan and organize the Juneteenth Festival, which took place at the African American Center for Cultural Diversity. This year, she's worked to give the festival a more international flavor to develop all the cultures with which our region is endowed. One of the activities planned for the weekend is to build a quilt for which families will create squares that represent their nationalities. Its theme, Olean, we are the world. Beyond these gifts to our community, our honored individual has plans for the future, goals which involve local artisans, businesses, and children to revive what was once known as the Little Apple. Her hope is that children and artists can come together to enjoy enterprise we create here. She says, this place is really wonderful, and that the name Enchanted Mountains feels appropriate to describe our region. For a woman who offers selfless service and a sincere love for our community, an example to which we all hope to strive, and for the noble work with children to foster appreciation of world culture, we offer the Unity Award to Sarah Woods.
I don't even know what to say. And anybody that knows me, I'm not really normally lost for words. Elaine duped me when she called me on the phone and was asking me about different things and said, oh yeah, we're going to put it in the brochure. And so I'm looking at the brochure and I'm like, oh, I guess it didn't fit, but you know. But it's been on and talking and all that. So she actually makes flyers, so I look like everybody. It explains about the International Freedom Festival, and as I mentioned before, I come from a diverse, a very diverse background, and then I went on to the University of Buffalo, where I met people from all over the world and lived in the International Living Center. There's an International Living Center where people who don't speak English come and learn English as a second language. So I've had the privilege, and again, I have to give honor to my parents for this, for taking a child that does not belong to them. They had no reason to even, have to take me, and had every reason to say no. They lived in Rushmore, New York, which is, many of you may know, a very white environment. So they went through a lot to try to raise me and protect me from the negative of racial discrimination, and I think that they did a really good job. I think that they, there were problems here and there, but for the most part, I never really felt it. So when I went to the University of Buffalo, and I would hear a lot of people talking about things like, oh, white people don't like black people, and this and that, I really couldn't understand it. I heard people from everywhere, from all walks of life, and have just really, my parents always taught me to accept everybody for who they are, and not look at the outside, just to, try to find a way to like everybody. And that gives me the strength and the commitment to these kind of things. Working with everybody in the Olean community on the Juneteenth Festival was a wonderful thing, and one of the reasons why I expanded it to an International Freedom Festival, as I explained to Elaine, is because everybody has struggled for freedom, whether it's women, whether it's the Jewish people with their original struggle of getting out of Egypt. They celebrate their Seder in recognition of freedom. Mexicans have Cinco de Mayo, which they celebrate in recognition of freedom. America as a whole celebrates the 4th of July. So it just occurred to me, because of the fact that I have a diverse group of people working with me on the Juneteenth last year, and I was so thankful for everybody coming together. But I had everybody, every race, every socioeconomic status, everything that you can think about, where people coming together and making Juneteenth a reality. And I said, why don't we celebrate that diversity? Why don't we celebrate how this community here in Olean is inspiring? And, I hear a lot of people talk a lot of negative talk about Olean, and I want to show the positive things about Olean, and how beautiful Olean is. And I'd just like to share a real brief little story. Is in Juneteenth last year, we honored Aunt Sarah Johnson, who was a runaway slave who had, when she was 13 years old, ran away from Baltimore, Maryland, and came to Olean and settled in Olean. And in 1850, there was an act passed called the Fugitive Slave Act, and it made it a crime for anybody to help a fugitive. So anybody that even saw Aunt Sarah Johnson in the community, it was their legal duty to turn her into the police, or else they could have suffered a fine. Well, Olean not only protected this woman and allowed her to flourish, she owned a home in Olean pre-emancipation, a black woman, runaway slave, here in Olean. She had 11 children with her runaway husband. So they weren't hiding. She was called Aunt Sarah because she helped adopt me. She was a midwife, and so they said that there wasn't a child that was born in Olean that Aunt Sarah did not bring to life, or she also administered her last rites. So everybody knew Aunt Sarah. She was not a hidden woman. And Olean fostered that. This place right here. Comforted, brought her in naked, with quilts wrapped around her feet, starving, brought this woman in, and allowed her to raise her 11 children with her husband and own property before black people were even free in something that Olean should stand up, every person in Olean should stand up and be proud of and know that that is part of your history and that is part of your legacy. For that reason, I think that what we're doing here today and what we're going to continue to do every day and have celebrations and events and get together and really celebrate our diversity, yet our unity, is the right path to go on. And I thank you so much for this. This is